Alright guys, welcome back. Another episode of the Sopwith Camel build, Latrobe Valley, Victoria, Australia. We're going to keep covering, get some painting done and deal with the weather. Thanks for watching. Alright, keep complaining about the cold, but I've come in this morning. Unfortunately, I got water dripping from the roof everywhere. So I need to get this in the tent sort of as soon as I can. It was filled up with water, so I've dried it off. I covered it over, had a cup of coffee, had to think about it. Lucky it's not in primer or anything like that, because there's the occasional drip now just randomly coming from the roof. As you can see on the table, I think I showed you that. I can hear little drops, but we'll persevere. So, I'm about to roll out the fabric. What I've learnt is, or worked out, so the roll's going to end up on the floor down this end, which leaves the big section left on the roll, so it'll be a triangle opposite to this shape. So this has got the big bit at the front, small taper at the back. If I leave the big bit on the roll, to do the turtle deck, it means I can continue, if I need to fan it out a little bit more, and I'm only losing, the tapered section. If you do it the other way, and it's an inch too short for the turtle deck, you can only lengthen it in the narrowing direction, if that makes sense. So just a consideration. Hopefully that works out. We won't know until we stand it up. But today, fighting the elements, I want to try and get this side on. This side should go a lot quicker. I've got no foothold and no foot peg, especially, to deal with. And I've sort of done it once, so I'm now the expert. Let's get into it. All right, so the right side of the fuselage is going on. Still getting a couple of drops of water down from the roof. It's water-based anyway. A lot of work just with the fiddly stuff. I've got my process down pat now. I've just wetted out the edge. Once that's dry, got the kettle on. Once that's dry, cut it off. Left myself a bit more room this time to pull some fabric through. And we'll get this one down relatively tight by close of business today. Looking at the temperature, I might sneak out and I'll sneak in and get some paint laid. Why, hello, Sopwith Camel. Woo! Still drying. First coat, a bit patchy. I actually like the look of the patchy stuff, to be honest. It looks like it's flown a few missions. Ah, how good's that looking, guys? How good is that? Got the green on. Another coat of white. Fin's done. We are looking good. Let's get back to the covering. Just had lunch. I'm ready to trim this. I'll trim all this up. The roof was leaking there. Trim this up, glue the edge down, shrink the fabric, stand her up. I might lay garbage bags over it tonight and keep the water off. Just look after it. Had a double whammy this morning. I had water on this. I pulled down my blanket, threw it over the top. The mice have been in my blanket, chewing on the blanket, so literally crap went everywhere, literally, inside the fuselage. So I've compressed air, got most of it out. But we are looking good. Righto. It's good to get some colour on, I tell you. Get some olive drab. Magnificent. Instead of it looking like a lady's bathroom, it's looking like a Sopwith Camel. I obviously didn't wet this edge here enough. I've got quite a few, if you can see that on the video, strands coming off. So I'm just going along with my rubber, and you can pick up the strand and then nick it off. There's a few more here. See there? And I'll just snip those off with a knife and then iron this back down. Alright, the fun part Let's give it all a shrink to 250. Comes up a treat. All your hard work pays off. Try and touch every square inch. Keep track of the iron temperature. Now just up the corner here, I'm a bit dubious at the front here. We'll sneak up on it. What I find, if you've got a wrinkle, don't heat the wrinkle, heat away from it, like the slack fabric that's not actually in the wrinkle. So you pull the wrinkle out that way. Temptation is just to dump the iron on the top of the wrinkle. Pretty much just like ironing the Sunday best. There we go, a little bit more up the front. I'm ready to stand this up. Lay some glue for tomorrow for the turtle deck, and then we'll have the four sides on. Then the process will be go to my notes, check where I need access hatches, cable exits, etc. You can see I've already marked just here for the couple of donuts down there, which I may glue on now actually. I might glue those on now. And all the tapes, lay the tapes, and I'll have to come up with some sort of, I assume you start at the back and work forward, so anyway, you've got to work out which goes under and which goes over. I did draw a bit of blood, a bit of battle scar. Alright, the temptation is to start whacking some doilies on, but I've got to remember I'm not at final shrink yet. So I think if I was to put a doily on and then shrink it, the doily doesn't actually shrink. But I forget which side I just did. Both sides are on. We're at 250, thereabouts. I've closed up the fuselage. And I'm going to lay some glue on the turtle deck in preparation for tomorrow. Turtle deck should be easy, nice. Well, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it's a good height, good working height. Nothing poking out as far as I can see. And then I'll probably leave this little section so I can get in, and I want to make a panel, a triangle panel, or a frame at least. I might do a plywood frame and get it glued in. And then we'll start making it pretty. Looking good, guys, looking really good. See on the other side here I've left more of a tag. I've just glued that, sort of doing it blind. Trim that off about 1/4 inch, iron it around. This side was a bit shy, but I'll still do the 2-inch tape up onto my L angles. We'll have a look at her. Right, stop talking to you guys, lay some glue. Okay, top skin's a little bit foreign to me in the sense that there's no tube or no edge, but what I do know is I need a good glued edge before I shrink anything down. Got the fabric as wrinkle free as I can. I'm really happy with the lay of that. It drapes nicely. I may end up with a pucker at 12 o'clock position. That'd sort of make sense if you, yep, that's going to work out. So I'm just going around. I had the bead of glue underneath. I use sort of just a 1/4 inch bead of glue, and then it spreads out obviously when I wipe it. I want to get it stuck on, and then we'll worry about making it pretty later. If I can salvage this piece to cover that, that'd be great. If not, I've got plenty of scraps over there. I'm happy I've basically covered this, and I haven't got too much, touch wood, too much wastage. You can see that's as far as it ends up in the bin. The roll is still sitting across the fuselage. I'll worry about that end later. I'll get the two sides pinned on like this, let it dry thoroughly, iron it back down, and then I'll come in and wet the edge again and trim that off. Might use the scissors this time. Be very careful not to cut through the good fabric on the side. But then that's going to look good. Now SE5A commented worrying about moving the longerons if I go to full shrink. Because there's no glue on there yet, you know, I just do the 4 edges so the fabric will slide as opposed to pull these out of shape, I'm hoping. I'll still take his advice and we'll just sneak up on it slowly. Mainly the pressure's going to be down, and they can't, it's like a sway bar on a car. It can't bend this way as easy as it can flex. Alright, the perimeter's taped on, glued on. I've wetted the edge down, so that's adhered there, and that's just, I'll put the glue on to cut with a knife. Let that dry. The curve worked out really nice. This is all loosey-goosey up on top and all loose on here still. That'll all suck down nicely. Just keep an eye on the stringers, longerons. My sanding worked out well. The sides are sort of vertical just here. Well, I know they are because I put a straight edge on that when I sanded it. Probably could have been tucked in a bit more. It's alright, gives it some character. Then the work starts. Once I get 4 of these on, probably next week, I will tighten everything down to 350. Maybe not on the top. The sides definitely 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Then start on the bottom, access holes, doilies, and the tapes. There's no rivets this time, so should be a lot easier, hopefully, to run the tapes. You live and learn, so I've learnt quite a bit. Get the tapes on, give myself a little bit of a glue edge to iron them back down, because we know how many times I ironed them on the tail. Then we go through the paint process. For now, I'm going to go in and put coat number 2 on the horizontal and the elevator. Okay, just came in on the weekend, ironed down the top fabric to the first shrink, so I've got 4 sides perfect now. Really happy with that. Nice and tight and right. Now, got a spare half hour. I'm just masking up the rudder. No real science, divided by 3. Red, white, blue. I may spray this, we'll see how we go. Alright guys, just interrupted there for a minute I guess. I was lucky enough to have a visitor a few days ago, Brian Green, an aeromodeller, to all those in the aeromodelling community. His son Stephen brought him down, had a look over the Camel. We reminisced a bit. My dad flew model aeroplanes with Brian back in the 70s, I think, on Ferntree Gully Road. I remember we spoke about, obviously, the Sopwith Camel. I'll put some photos up here if you like. We had a great day, it was just a few days ago, reminiscing about people we knew. Terry Dodd, who my dad had Control Tower Hobby Centre with in the backyard, a little radio control business that Brian was aware of. Told him I got my first kit from a guy in Ringwood or Croydon somewhere named Dick Steele. When you're a 10-year-old kid, a guy with a name like Dick Steele sort of sticks in your head. It's pretty funny. But Brian passed away recently, so just wanted to say condolences to Stephen and his family, and yeah, keep your chin up. Okay, iron down the four sides 3 times, about 300 on the top, 350 everywhere else. I'm just cutting the tapes for the, I'll do the bottom. I've glued on my inspection rings. I'll move those out a bit so I can fit a tape in between. And on the tapes, I learnt this somewhere along the line, just rounding the edges. So when you get the 3-way overlap, or it'll be 1, 2, 3, be 4 parts there, it just fares in a bit better. So getting all those ready to go. I'll start at the back and work forward, so I should get my overlaps in the right direction. I'm using the cheap Basley tapes on the bottom, and we'll do the side at the same time, which means I can run this corner tape and then we'll flip it over when the time comes. Going along quite nicely. Last night I cut out some doilies, things like drain holes. These will go in half just to go around certain areas. My access panel hatches, if you like. Pull the covers off. We're going to unveil some paint today. That'll be great. We'll just let things warm up a bit before I start pulling masking tape off, and we'll continue with the tapes. You can see on the bottom here, sort of got some tapes laid halfway along. I need a doily over my access hole. I nearly forgot I need some drain holes on the bottom of the fuselage, and we'll clean up in here. I'll do the side of the fuselage at the same time, and pay particular attention to just ironing those edges down, get them all nice. We'll kick on. Okay, got most of the tapes on. Up the front here, I had to sort of just work out whatever I needed and get it on. That'll be under the floor panel. So where the floor panel is going to flap on the fabric and things like that, put a nice big doily around the undercarriage. I've still got to do the corner tapes. Now I'm just working on these here, the rings, which I had never done before. I glued the ring on, I think we saw that. Now I'll put 1 inch of glue around the perimeter and cover the whole thing. And I've just put the doily on. I'm just putting it on sort of dry, and I want to get that edge. So with a credit card, the old Mikey, which is a transport card in Victoria, get that edge nice, because I'm going to come back and iron this now and get some of those wrinkles out if I can. If not, don't play with it too much. So get the best of the worst. We'll leave it like that, let that dry. I'll come back and shrink mainly those inner and outer edges to get a nice fit. And then a coat of glue and wipe over the top to seal it all. While I'm waiting, I'll glue a couple of drain holes on down the back, which are basically miniature bits of plastic like this. Then we might go and remove some masking tape. All right, elevator complete. Got a nice sort of sheen to it, a few brush marks, but I'm really happy with how they've turned out. Can't complain about that. Now, I've had a sneak peek. Just going to pull off the mask, which is coming off really nice. So I'll take that off and I'll give you a look at the finished product. 10 out of 10, guys. 10 out of 10. Beautiful transition. Oh, there's a couple of little tiny whatevers. Maybe there, a little razor blade. Beautiful. Do the other side. Come on, baby. Beautiful. All right, beautiful. A lot of work, but that's just come out fantastic. The black dots are my drain holes. Really good, guys. Probably looks shiny because of the fluoro lights, but that's actually low sheen. But it's got a sheen, that's all right. 3 coats of primer, 3 coats of colour, top and bottom. A lot of sanding. I'm just going to mask up, well, at some stage. Mask those up just with a rattle can, primer, black satin black paint. And that'll finish those off quite nicely. I think I'll give it a few days before I go masking up again, and because I'm going to have to scuff these down as well. That'll make a black, like a black dust. I have to be aware of that, so I don't want to get black and crap all over my nice paint job. But fantastic. Let's do the horizontal stab. Very uplifting, guys, to have some parts on the bench basically done. It's almost time to get the spanners out and put some parts back on. Now I'm just going through. I've put a coat of red. There's not much to see now in the tent. I've just put a coat of red on the rudder. 1 coat of red. Needs about 5, I reckon. I'm just going through now with my 1-inch rule, if you like, and I'll do 2-inch stripes everywhere. Give me some guidelines, then we'll lay some tapes on the side. Because of the weather, nothing's drying too well, so I'll keep going with the tapes, let it dry overnight, come back, give everything an iron, and we should be looking pretty good to stand her up. I'll probably put I might put the fuselage in the tent now, but we'll see how we go. I'm quite comfy here. I need a lot of tools and a lot of running back and forth, but we'll see how we go. Okay, got the side almost done. I love when people say that. Hey, it's complete, apart from 2 wings and a tail and stuff. I just need to make a gusset for here. Work out what I'm going to do with the step. It's probably time to cut that out. I need to run the perimeter tape. The bottom's done. YouTube helped me with those. So if you're a builder, jump on YouTube before you go asking questions and that. I'll find a lot of information on YouTube, how to do those rings. I'll do them a bit neater next time. You can see my doilies shifted a bit, slid across. So happy with all this. I've got my book where I took notes. I've just got to punch out my drain holes and the exits for the tail wheel and the tail wheel cable. I'll do that now, and that should almost be the bottom finished. And a gusset here, another gusset there, around the foot peg and in this corner. I'm not sure if I'm game to cut this out yet. What I should have done is pre-glued the back, because it's going to be hard to get in there. I won't know until I cut it. I might be able to stick my hand in there, or I'll make a U-turn paintbrush and paint around on the inside. I think I'll do those now, let that dry, whack a coat of red on the fin, which is behind the wall there. Stand her up, do the other side. So another little point to note, remember back, I put all these wood blocks there for the fabric. That's turned out a treat. I've got a really nice surface. I've marked where the metal's going to end, or the aluminium, so it can flap on there. And I've got a nice, I've got a 3-inch tape there, another 3-inch tape folded over. It's ugly, but it's functional. I've tucked it all in, got good adhesion all the way around. Now I'm just going to run the soldering iron just in there to clean those joints up. Big doilies around the undercarriage, if that's to ever come off. So it's worth doing your homework to build yourself these little plywood things. Without those I'd be a bit lost, to be completely honest, because you imagine that fabric there would just be glued on by 1/4 inch surface area, and if you kick it or the wing hits it or something, it'll just pop off in my books. So we're looking really good. I put some little doilies just anywhere I think I need them. Obviously there's going to be a 2-inch tape, so probably 1 inch each side. I'm just going to run down through that and clean this job up, and I'll do a finishing tape around the rudder post. All right, red and blue. The 3 coats are red, we need another one. See how it starts off? That's the first coat of blue. I'm just put them on thin and we'll work up to it. The coverage in the paint's fairly average, but we'll get there. That'll look fantastic when it's done. Probably, I reckon, 4 or 5 coats, to be honest. Now on the fuselage, I was umming and ahhing how to bend a paintbrush in there and up and do the end. In the end, I stuck my finger in the paint, racked the glue on, waiting for the glue on the inside to dry, and then somehow I will probably use my finger again, stick the fabric down. I might be able to reach in through here with the iron. Hindsight, I should have done this before I put the other side on. That's okay. We can get out of it, and I'll roll this down as well. Then I'll hopefully run a tape before I go home today, potentially, all the way up. Then I've got my book out. So we are on the left-hand fuselage side. Left-hand side, footstep is done. Left rudder cable. I'll mark this out. And left-hand elevator. So I'm going to mark these 2 now on there, and we'll put a little doily. I'm not too sure, might do a nice teardrop shaped doily. More importantly, we'll get these marked and do that now. All right, just using my diagram. Didn't actually mark which bay, so I just got to trust that the diagonal tells me it's this bay. On the top, I've marked as a line where I would have grabbed the tube, if you like, with the tape, and come along 21¼ inches and up 17, gives me my top elevator departure point. And now we'll do 21¾ and come up 10 inches and 6½ inches back from here for the bottom elevator. That'll do for that side. All right, what do we do? I think I'll just do round patches for the exits to start with, and we'll worry about a nice leather piece in the future. But I think round rather than a teardrop suits the style of aircraft, I guess. We'll go with round. Alright guys, back at it. Coat of red, coat of blue has gone on the rudder. Hopefully that's ready to pull the masking off today. May need another coat. We'll see how it dries up. Got all my tapes on. Just taking my time on this, as you do. So the bottom is, I'd say, done, ready for a wash. The wash of glue, the sealer. I might do that before I roll it over, which means it has to dry properly. but it's good access now to do that. I'm going to run a tape right now all the way along, 2-inch tape all the way down. I think I'll treat that like an edge tape on the elevator, run a bead of glue and then iron it on and then glue it all down. Not too sure. I'll start at the end so I can slit it for those 2 tangs that are there, and we'll get the edge tape on. Then that'll be right to, I think I'll roll it right over to the other side. It's just easy working with the tapes down flat, as you can imagine. So yeah, we're going along quite nicely. I've got school holidays next week, guys, and to be honest, I'm feeling a little bit burnt out. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break. So this may be the last video for a week or 2. However, I will still get the inkling to come out and you know, do a bit here, there and everywhere, but not 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. So let's get this tape on. All right, just working my way through. It is important when you do this, if you wipe left to right, you're going to have a bad day and wrinkle it all up. So you just want to, I'm basically just wiping. You can see the way I've done it with the hand towel. I've ironed on the edge at the 12 o'clock position, if you like, or the middle. Then I just add some glue under the tape and sort of just slop it on, I guess. For the purpose of the video, we gently apply the glue. Sort of about 6 inches at a time. I'll come down the edge as well under here. And then glue that down. You're going to get some little puckers on the change of direction. I did sort of iron this a little bit. So I've got a couple of teeth there, don't worry about it. It can be a lot worse, and the iron, as we know, if you've been watching, the iron just is a magic wand. Get the magic wand out, clean her up, and then I've just got crappy paper towel. I roll it in 4 layers, like that, and then wipe off that excess glue that'll appear in your finish apparently. And you can sort of make it sit down nice. So you can see along there, if you get any little ones standing up, not an issue. Little one there, it may sit down. If not, the iron will fix it up and work along. You see I slitted it for these. That's why I put the gusset underneath as well, or the doily. Yeah, we'll get this on. And I think what I'll do after that, let it dry, give it a good iron, like the edges, and then I'll put the wash on the bottom. Then I don't have to worry about the bottom. The bottom will be ready for primer. Oh, sorry, the perimeter tape on that side. It's easy to forget a tape, I guess, so you just have to go slow, work your way around. I'm not sure on the top, on the turtle deck, which I'll get to. If I use 2-inch tape, they're all going to smash together here, potentially. I haven't measured it out yet. I have got some 1-inch tape. I'm not sure if I put 1-inch tape on every one. Maybe I do a 2-inch on the middle and then a 1 and then a 2. It might look a bit funny, but another consideration there. All right, just going through with my foam brush. 3-to-1 mix, and just force the, well, not force, but just brush that glue into the fabric, get it in there, and then get rid of the bubbles. Anywhere there's any light spots on the tape, I'll just go over those. I'm not saying this is right, guys, but hey, that's what I'm doing. Just want to get it to all change colour, I guess. You do get a couple of, I thought I had some, might have dried. If you go a bit heavy, you'll get a run, but it'll be on the inside of the fabric, so it's not the end of the world. I did notice a few people do this on the wings before they lay the tapes. I don't know, I like to lay the tapes first, so that tape's now, well, it's not actually. I thought it'd be stuck to the tubes. On the proud ones it is. Obviously that tube's slightly in. Good example of why we do the tape. You can see that's 1/4 inch off the tube and it can bounce. So I guess the tape just adds reinforcement there. Reinforcement, hence the term, reinforcement strip. So I'm just going to sit here and do my colouring in. Sorry about the shoddy camera work. Just colour all this in without lifting the edges of the tapes too much. This also makes it waterproof, or also impervious to water, as I've learnt. So, a little bit to go. I'll just do the bottom. I still have to run a perimeter tape on that bottom edge, as I've done up here. This is all wet, needs a good, hour or so to dry, and then I'll come back to finish off today, iron that edge down, any little teeth that are sitting up. Remember I had some little puckers, iron that down, bit around the step again, and that'll be the bottom basically complete, ready to stand up. I'm going to do something different, get off the fabric. I think I'll cut out my ply for the other side. I've got a big scummer on there. I'll cut out my ply to work out what I'm going to do with the hatch. Alright, just about had enough of these tapes for a while. Bottom's done apart from that bottom edge tape, like this guy. Ironed it all down. Just need to walk away, let that dry, I think. The last coat of colour, I don't know, it's still prickly looking, so I've turned the heater on now. We'll see if that helps. Might be too late. May need a sand and a recoat, but I'll see. I'll let it dry thoroughly. So for now, what are we going to do? Let's do something different. I'm a bit lethargic. You can probably hear it in my voice. I'm going to cut out a ply insert for the other side. It'll get glued in there, similar to my footrest, footstep. That's turned out really good. I put some anti-skid in there, but very nice and neat. And yeah, I'll just cut it, work with some plywood, get that ready to put in on the other side when I come in probably tomorrow and flip this over. I really should go in the tent with the heater and get this dry really quick. We'll look at doing that. All right, got a plywood, cut out the outer perimeter. Now that should fit in there, which it does nicely. So I might glue that on, give it time to set up. I'll just cut out the inner ring. It might be smart to make a template of this actually. Throw it underneath when I make the top panel. We'll do that as well. Quick little template for when the time comes and I make a panel. You see where I'm going with that. This will be on the inside. Fabric in and around with an access hole, and the panel will simply get screwed on to that. All right, let all that dry. The bottom dry. In the tent, I don't know that I'm happy, but I don't know, the solution's not just keep throwing paint on this thing. So I've got to stop. That's wet, obviously. We'll see how it dries up. You can see a few white spots on the the rivet heads. So I quickly gave that a sand. Hopefully it dries okay. A lot of texture in there. We might have to go back to spraying. That's okay, like I'm happy with those. This bit's giving me a bit of grief. Can see a bug land in there now. We'll come in tomorrow. The solution's not just keep throwing paint on it. So we're going to see what we get. Well, we're going to get what we get. I'm going to rip off the mask and we'll have red, white and blue, and that'll be that. Then to paint the fuselage, I'm just going to take the time and teach myself how to spray paint again. I think it'll go on a lot better. I'm going to concentrate more on the primer. That 3 coats of Eco Prime, it just gave me grief. I reckon the texture that I'm seeing in the tail is the Eco Prime that I rolled on. It actually says to spray it on or sort of suffer the consequences of a lot of sanding. And to sand fabric is hard work. The tail, I don't know, I think we're complete now. We'll sort that out tomorrow, I'll show you that. But very labour intensive, so I think I'm going to have to pull out the spray gear and simplify my process. Alright, come on baby. Magnificent. Beautiful. Having perfect lines detracts a bit from the texture. Woohoo! One rudder, boys. Yeah, baby. Full left, full right. Oh, I'm happy now. Happy days. I've got 2 little bleeds I'm going to touch up with a razor blade, and then we'll spray these black, the horns. Quick little mask up for the control horns. We'll give those a spray. Hopefully just a rattle can of etch primer. Takes longer to mask up than it does to actually paint. We'll sneak up on that. Flip it over, do the other side. I'll paint those black, flip it over, do the other side. Just got the spray cans in front of the heater. I'll let that tack off, it'll go dull, and I'll go and go and mask up the rudder. All right, she's going back together. First little bolt in there, It is surprising how long it takes to get the right dash length all sorted out. 3 goes that took me. I do remember saying that I should have got them all correct. And with this little part in particular, I'm not sure if it could be 180 degrees out. I need to get that on though, so I don't forget when I mount the tailplane, I can't get to the back side. I'm going to give this a Mr. Sheen now. And I reckon they all need a good day in the sun, I think. But I've cleared the tent out almost. There we go again, like, hey, I finished apart from this, this and this. Sprayed those black, both sides. The rudder, horn, I think I've done both sides, have I? Yep, it's touching the table. And my plan now, because I'm going to take a break for a bit, is, well, have a few days off. I'm going to try and slide the fuselage on the mat. I'm going to slide it. I've measured it. The tail will go out the door, which will allow the nose to come past the tent. Bear in mind, I can move the tent a little bit if I need to. I could even take that leg off, slide the firewall in, and we'll drag it into the... I could put the wheels on, open the hangar doors, wheel, taxi it around basically and reverse her in. But I think I can manage. And then everyone will come for a coffee after I drag it in. But that's okay. And we'll get the fuselage in there. I can work in a better climate, and then it's also where I'll paint it. Now, painting the fuselage, I'm not going to go so aggressive on the primer this time. I've seen some other videos of people doing stuff that I like. And here's my hatch I put on, glued that on last night, so that'll get cut out. Just have to adhere that a little bit better. Pretty au fait now with how this all works. I've glued the back edge, like on the footstep, so now I can reach in. I can also reach in the top and get everything sorted out. I might even, today I might just have an easy day. I might just mark out where the cable exits are. Whether I get to some gluing, I'm not too sure. Last day of school, so I got an early pickup today. Priority is to get this into the tent so I can stay inside the tent and be a little bit more protected. And then also it'll encourage me to go for a fly because all this stuff will be out of the way. I'm not doing enough flying at the moment. I have marked out where my tapes are going to go and stop, and a 3-inch tape will finish this off nicely. A veneer will go on this eventually. I'll start with the bottom as a test, a bit more practice on my painting, I guess. So I might just roll the primer on the bottom. Not primer, I'm going straight for paint this time. I'll roll some paint on the bottom, see how that lays down. If that's no good, we'll get the spray gun out. Going well. Alright guys, that's a wrap up of this week. Going along quite nicely. Got the rudder done. The fins at home, I'm doing the stickers for that, that's pretty good. Next video I'll show you that. I've got the Sopwith on Thames all printed out. I found with the masking tape's not sticking to this paint too well, so I hope my stickers actually stick to the paint, like permanently. So, like I just said, I'm about to shift the fuselage in there. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next video.